Me and JoJo went trick-or-treating. He went trick-or-treating, and I went along as security for everybody else, not for him.
So what?
But-
did he dress up?
Yes, he did. He was a vampire wizard.
Vampire wizard.
Yeah, and he got some pretty darn good amount of candy. But we did swing by this party because he wanted something cool to drink, and so I got lemonade, and he decided to go for cider, and then he found out that the cider was extremely alcoholic.
Oh.
So I got cider, and my 15-year-old son got my lemonade. It was a nice cider.
Did he try the cider before
He did.
you took it
He's
away
like,
from him?
No, he tried it, and he's like, "Dad, can you taste this?" Yes, I can. Thank you. Here, have my lemonade.
At least he gave it to you, and as opposed to just drinking it himself and
not realizing and being drunk and falling down, and me
Right.
getting CPS called on me and going to jail and.
All right. Welcome to episode 255 of the LinuxLUGcast. We are an open podcast /lug that meets at 9 p.m. Eastern every first and third Friday of the month using Mumble. We encourage anyone who is listening to us to join. All you need to do is install Mumble and follow the server details on LinuxLUGcast.com and every first and third Friday of the month, and you can join us. There is also a web version of Mumble that we have available. And what is that clicking?
It's Joe.
Joe, what are you doing?
He's probably clipping like a 3D printing. Yeah.
Oh, all right. All right. If you have any questions, comments, topics that you would like us to discuss, you can send us an email at feedback@linuxlugcast.com. We have a Lemmy group. We have a Matrix channel where we talk. Right now, the best way to see us is on Peertube or YouTube because we are having issues because archive.org is read-only, getting the audio files to somewhere. And we're going to talk more about that in a few minutes. Right now, let's introduce people. Like I said, I'm Honkeymagoo. With us tonight is Eric.
Good evening.
Joe.
Hello.
Lovecraft.
Hello, everyone.
Minnix.
Hello.
And Netminer.
Hello, just trying to catch up, joining everything.
All right. So, like I alluded to, a little while back, we had an issue where, well, actually, archive.org had an issue where they were breached, and apparently a bunch of information was stolen, and so they basically shut down the website. And now the website is back up, but it is in a read-only mode, which means you can go to it, you can download stuff, but creators like myself, who want to upload stuff, cannot. So now I've been scrambling, as best as I can scramble, to try to figure out a way to do this. Now, to give you a little insight, what I use for to post this podcast is I use the website is WordPress. I use a plugin with WordPress called PowerPress, and that I basically just plug in a when you create a page, you then plug in a URL to the audio files, and that gets posted to the RSS feed. And then the RSS feed is handed out to everybody else. Apparently, PowerPress has some restrictions on the type of audio files that it likes, or the way that the URL is set up that it likes. And I think I have some understanding of what's going on there. But it's been a giant fucking pain in my ass. Because I have not been able to get anything. Because I wouldn't mind just hosting it locally, the audio files locally for right now, and then finding another solution. One solution we came up with was apparently Midcast uses a company called Red Circle. I've signed up for an account with Red Circle, but it's all right. again, so anybody who's on here now, do me a favor, just go to Red Circle's website.
You could always jump onto the Mintcast Discord and ask Bill.
Okay.
You need to have to use Discord.
Just look at it and
Not all of us got booted from there for being a troll.
Some of us actually like freedom.
Freedom.
So I'm on the website.
Yeah.
everything about the website is about
The paid
ads
stuff.
and making money and ads
The paid
and
stuff.
That
Right.
is what they target, for sure.
right. Something
Yeah,
about it, I just
They make money if you make money. I mean, it's as simple as that. So I mean, they're giving you the their service for free, and basically they'll take a cut if you make money off of it. So I mean, that's
if we sign up to do ads with them.
right. Which, think about it, a lot of podcasters, I mean, we are very strange people. You realize that, right? Like most people, when they invest time into something, they expect compensation for it. And like the fact that open source and, you know, like freely giving of your time and not expecting anything for it. And like, it's kind of an odd thing. So
Oh, I'm still
It's a-
expecting my check. I haven't got it yet, but
Well,
that
you
doesn't mean I'm
imagine-
not expecting
Honky
it.
promised us.
Yeah,
He
he
said we was
promised.
going to get paid.
They said we could quit our jobs and just
It's in the mail.
do the Lugcast.
Absolutely.
Actually, I was promised a cute blonde Pole.
Who, did Honky promise you this?
When did we start giving out blondes?
I think Lugbot must have promised it.
Probably.
I said I didn't want to. I wanted to check.
You're breaking up, Netminer.
That's right. In lieu of financial compensation.
Well,
No,
don't
but
know.
I get what you're saying, Honky. I totally understand. You're looking for some place to just host your stuff, and they're laying it on thick with the monetization stuff.
I would really just be happy with someplace I can post an audio host like archive.org. I can just host put the audio files and be able to send it up there. And this seems like it wants to be a whole lot more than that. And you know what? We could probably use it, and it may just be fine. But something about this thing just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know.
I mean, so they have if you look at grow and monetize your podcast, so they have the ad platform, promotion, insertion of ads. And the fourth one is really what you're interested in, hosting and distribution. Host with unlimited episodes and downloads. And that, they're sort of, I think, they're sort of saying that's sort of the base part of it. Like, of course you get to do all those things, but then on top of it, and I'm not an apologist for them. Like, I don't have any affiliation with them or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, I think they are sort of saying, okay, you will get that aspect of it, but in addition, these are the things we really focus on, which is the cross promotion, the ad platform, stuff like that. And honestly, this is kind of new. I think this is a sort of a direction they've taken, which makes me wonder if maybe they've been acquired or something, because the last time I looked at their corporate page, I don't remember it being so in your face like this. But I don't know. I have to wonder. You have to think a business like this is trying to compete with something like Spotify, with with other services that hosts or the podcasts can get paid from. And I think
Sorry, Spotify doesn't do, like, we're on Spotify as far as I know. I'm pretty sure our RSS feed is through. Actually, I think we got a link to Spotify on the website. They don't post any ads through our stuff. All we do is add an RSS to give them our RSS, and then it just means that if somebody searches through Spotify for our podcast, they can find us.
Right, but they're not hosting it.
Correct. Why Spotify does their own hosting?
No. What I'm saying is they're just aggregating the URL essentially. They're just a way for someone to find the. So they're not actually hosting, but they do. I think they do actually have. It's just like YouTube has hosting as well. I mean, they might. That's a good question. I don't know. Let me see. Anyway,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say. I think this is all. I don't remember them. There's no requirement, as far as I know, for them to insert ads into your stuff. So, like, if you were to just say, "Okay, I'm going to ignore all of the ad platform and cross promotion and all that stuff. I just want a place to stick the files." I think that's still possible. Like, I don't think you're agreeing to, like, oh, well, if you upload your files here and someone listens to them from this URL, we're going to just automatically insert
the ads in
and stuff
there
like
because
that.
we want to.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think they do that.
And I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm just nothing about this company rubs me the right way. Though if it seems to be the only option that we have right now, then I'm more than happy to move it over. I'm also kind of leery about sticking our stuff with another company in the hopes that it doesn't, have some sort of an issue, or they just kind of say, "Fuck it, we're not doing this anymore."
So Spotify does have a platform, by the way.
Okay.
And you can like upload your stuff to them. Anyway, let me shift this slightly. So you're looking for some place that's free to do this, right? Would you pay for something
free?
Right. So this is that.
Really wouldn't like to not pay for something that may just disappear tomorrow. Because I seriously thought archive.org wasn't going to go anywhere.
That's
But all of a
everybody
sudden,
it really hasn't gone anywhere.
Right.
Somebody just decided to screw them over.
Right.
And that can happen to any company. I don't really care if they're paid or not.
Right.
And where I was going with that is, I think there's probably somewhere that would be a paid place to be. And I don't know that, like, I don't know. I feel like there are times where this expectation of like free and then just like having your cake and eating it too. Like, I think maybe some of that's coming to an end. I don't know that the expectation of free really exists anymore with so many moneyed interests, and like, it just feels like the internet is a really ugly shadow of its former self in a lot of ways. Like everything's a trade-off anymore. So.
And that's fine. I'm not necessarily looking for free. The free aspect isn't the big selling point. The big selling point is, will you last, and can I put my files in there and have it be able to be used with my current way of pushing the RSS feed.
Gotcha.
I mean, if again, I would rather just host it myself or host it like over a couple of places, but it's because we're not big enough where it's going to cause a problem. I've looked at archive.org after we've dropped a show, so there's not a whole lot of people who have automatically downloading us, because after a week later, the counter still says 0, and it usually takes a while before we hit our usual about like 300 or so people who download straight off the RSS. And then our 20 or 30 who watch the full episode on YouTube, and then unless we cut off something that's interesting,
You guys talked about on the last show that you were worried about the bandwidth that it would take to host it, right?
The audio files, yeah.
Yeah, just because of the size.
Right.
Gotcha.
Well, no, not because of the size, because of the amount of downloading. The size of the files isn't anything.
Simultaneous downloads when it's first uploaded.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But even if I did that, I can just set up something like a cron job, or script it so it goes out at like midnight when I got nothing really going on here, and it's not going to be.
I just wonder, because your statement of saying I don't want to put it somewhere where I can't trust that it's not going to just get taken down at some point. I don't know that exists anymore. You know,
Right.
something like archive.org can and Joe's right. Like, I don't think it's actually going anywhere. It's just this is like a temporary thing, I think, but it does show you that it's not infallible.
It's bringing some scrutiny, and that could cause problems. And with it not being downloadable, people are going to do what we're all doing and looking for other places to do the same thing, which will cause a hit to them when it comes to this one aspect. But seriously, I mean, where else are you going to find all the stuff on the Wayback Machine and all that? It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, and
Well-
maybe the good.
No, I was going to say is the other part that concerns me is the amount of lawsuits when it came to like their whole book thing and whatnot, and then them constantly trying to find funding for everything that they do. I mean,
The book thing, that was definitely their fault.
Yeah, but he's saying, but the money to fight the lawsuits, you know, like,
Yeah.
how
Right.
much is that going to drain them?
Yeah.
and the amount of
Yeah.
they have to pay for all that storage, for all that piles and piles of shit that everybody has piled into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to think they wish they could go back and maybe rethink that book decision.
Too late
I don't
now.
know. Oh yeah, no, I get that, but people defended them up to that point, and then I was one of them, because if you do have that physical copy, that is the right, you know, to lend it out. But once they broke that, it was just kind of like, well, nope, sorry, can't help you anymore. So
Once the laws changed back after post-pandemic, then yeah, that was a problem.
yeah, yep. And I don't know, maybe best case is that they harden their security or co-locate or have some method of fighting this kind of thing. I don't know. But back to the original question, look, man, if you seriously, if you have a bad vibe about Red Circle, I wouldn't use it. You know, I mean, if you don't feel good about it, then I mean, they
something
can't be
else.
the only. Yeah, they can't be the only option. Are they?
I haven't looked real close for free ones. It's just when, you know, we were asking for free solutions, I knew about that one because of Midcast. So
Yeah.
I mean, there has to be other hosting solutions out there, even if we're temporarily just using the thing we have set up for what the
Lugcast
the-
Lab.
Lugcast Lab.
Yeah, like, so just out of curiosity, I just did Red Circle Alternative and G2.com, which hosts a bunch of, like, you know, competitive alternative stuff. There's, you know, Buzzsprout, Anchor,
AWS
RSS.com.
buckets.
Well, yeah, that's a paid option. But if you're just looking for, you know, Podbean, there's it looks like there's plenty of other choices. You know, if you wanted to just maybe see if one of them had a better option. I mean, they all of them say promoting, though. I mean, I think that's kind of, like I said, I think most people who are going to put the effort behind a podcast are going to hope to see some sort of a revenue stream from it.
Right.
We're the
This
odd
kinda
ones.
is-
See, and I understand that that my I'm not going to say my logic, but you know, most of this was just kind of an odd feeling that I got from the place in the first place. But I can. It's not a horrible idea to use just even Red Circle, but it's just when you first going to it, and this is how they present themselves. It was very off-putting.
Yeah, the free option is kind of hidden. You really have to look for it to find it.
Well, it's not even the free option. It's just their whole into this the way they present themselves.
So something like Buzzsprout has less of it's much less in your face like that. And I'm just picking it because that was the first one on G2. But so their free is 2 hours upload each month, episodes hosted for 90 days. So it's not like an ongoing forever
and
type
that's
thing.
not enough.
Right.
I mean, we do twice a month, and our shows are usually what,
Can you put this
3
back?
hours?
Oh, at least.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So that's going to be, and then even if you pay the $12 a month, it's 3 hours. So this one's going to be very much based around their pricing is going to be around the duration of the show. So I mean that's kind of okay. What's Anchor do? And so I don't know. I would just sort of run through myself, I guess, and see if there's any.
Yeah. So when it comes to the whole self-hosting aspect of it, I mean, does anybody know of of a way to just be able to share a URL where it wouldn't run into any problems? I mean, half of what it's like when I get the rejection thing from PowerPress, it usually says it doesn't want some media players don't like certain things, like the shared folder will have like a $sign in the middle of it. For whatever reason, it doesn't like the $signs. It likes capitals, dashes, lowercase capitals, dashes, and other stuff. Hold on, let me see if I can pull up exactly what it said. Just generally speaking, does anybody know of a good way to share files?
Well, yeah. I mean, for a podcast, isn't it just an XML file that leads to the?
Yeah, I'm surprised. Doesn't that plugin have some self-hosting of an RSS?
I would think it.
Yeah, I mean, you said PowerPress?
Yeah, it's a WordPress plugin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at the simplest, all you need is a web server. And that's it. So because podcast, I think, is just an XML file hosted on that same web server that.
Right, and that's
links to the media
what I'm
file.
thinking is something like a plugin where basically it's just using your domain as the URL. So you're just saying, this domain /feed.
I don't think there's anything special about actually hosting the podcast. As far as I know, you just need, Nginx or Apache or something like that.
Right, and WordPress is already creating RSS feeds for the blog posts and stuff like that. So I can't imagine it's that difficult or different to do an RSS feed for a podcast. That's I'm looking at the plugin now, wondering if there's a way to just self-host.
So what I get for an error is media URL contains characters that may cause problems for some clients. For maximum compatibility, only use letters, numbers, dashes, and underscore characters only. And it's just I'll post the URL I'm using.
Gotcha. Well, that kind of makes sense. I mean, they're just saying that maybe the special characters would cause a problem. Do the show titles have a problem? Where are the $signs coming in?
It's right. I just posted it in the show notes.
Oh, okay. I'll take a look.
That's one of them that I tried. Let's see. Try my other ones.
All right, so they're saying to generate a podcast RSS feed. I'm just reading some random article for hosting a podcast on WordPress. Generate a podcast RSS feed for my podcast. Either you use a podcasting host provider like Castos, Podbean, or Anchor, or you code the RSS feed yourself, which I guess there's RSS feed settings or something. Anyway, so, and that's using the built-in WordPress RSS functionality. You can apparently code one yourself. So this article specifically mentioned Podbean and Anchor, and those two were they came up in that search as well. So maybe Podbean is an option. I'm just trying to see. They list SoundCloud here too. I don't know if SoundCloud is as an option?
Google gives you 15 gig of free space.
Well, I don't think it's the space. It's publishing the feed is what he's talking about, and I
It
agree
needs
with
a
that.
link, so if Google can create a link for him, then
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like you're leaning more towards self-hosting in some way, and it's obviously self-hosting is more work, but I don't think it's going to be like outrageously difficult. I just can't imagine. There's a plugin called Seriously Simple Podcasting, but this is using that CastOS or CastOS, which is you go to the website, it says best podcast hosting platform for WordPress specifically. So, but it's paid. So, yeah, it's expensive too. Yeah, hell with that. Yeah, if you create your own RSS feed, you can host it yourself. There are a few things you must keep in mind. First, if you host it on your WordPress podcast website, note that any small downtime or error originating in other plugins could affect the availability and discoverability of your feed. So I guess that's just don't have crappy hosting.
The SSD nodes you can host, but you have to buy the package that you need for storage and bandwidth up front. You can't expand it. Storage can also be bought from Google Drive if we want to go that route.
Welcome, mordancy.
Sorry. So, what the hell did I do there? I've posted the links that I've been able to create with what I've tried so far. So I've tried Tiny File Manager, Droppy. I've tried that little Python script right there. Those are the links I've been able to create, and none of them have been giving me any luck whatsoever with trying to use it with the way I have things set up right now. So the other two don't have like the $sign in it, so that one gets rejected. The first one that has the $sign, I think I used Droppy, and that one got rejected. One of them got just a 404 error because like I used the bottom one did a 404 error. Yeah, 502 bad gateway because that was just the Python script, and then that one. That sent me to host login. And the Droppy one just gave me a straight download, but it didn't like the $sign in it.
So write another script that removes the $signs. Or adjust your script so that when it saves without $signs.
I was going to say, what is
script?
It that's inserting it? Yeah, what's inserting the $signs?
It's the shareable URL that's being that's being created by Droppy. You have to remember, I'm not changing the RSS feed. The RSS feed is the same thing that we've had for quite some time. If you change the RSS feed, that's going to fuck everything up.
Gotcha.
So, no, a URL shortener, unless you're paying for the site, will only do like one or two. Oh, you could build your own redirect.
How do we build our own redirect? That's a great option too.
Well, you're creating web pages on your own computer that then point to the thing with the $sign.
Right.
So create a web page.
That's what I was saying. All you need is just a web server, right?
You're
I've
not
tried that.
hosting. You're not hosting anything at that point. You're just redirecting.
That's
Oh.
basically the Python script, right? So let's
Instead of the site that's posting the RSS or I don't know. I'm gonna go back to shutting up now. We'll let Eric talk.
I'm feeding my cat.
No, I'm just looking. I mean, if you're already using WordPress, then it includes that functionality. It's really just a matter of. I mean, so the problem is, well, it's not really a problem because you can create the feed and then, really where you're hosting it is I mean, it's a different consideration. I don't know. I mean, it's not something I've ever done, so I would have to spend time figuring it out. So, and there's a paid plugin, WP aggregator, that lets you create custom RSS feeds, and it's sort of like a WYSIWYG way to do it. But if they're doing it as a plugin, then you can do it natively with code. But I mean, I don't know how to do the. I guess it would probably be like PHP code. So the plugin itself, you can pay, $80 a year, and then create an RSS feed. But then you got to pay more to host it somewhere, probably, and I don't know.
So the problem isn't generating an RSS feed.
Okay.
The problem is getting a URL that the thing would being able to share the media, the audio file.
Okay. What? I'm sorry. Where was it now that you said it's giving you the $sign?
Droppy. It's what I'm using to try to Droppy. I have a Droppy installed. Droppy is an application, and I got a link to it on the. It's like Dropbox but self-hosting.
Oh, okay.
So I'm using that on one of my servers here, and I have and I'm using just shareable URL with that, and that's what's giving the $sign. What I just need to find a way to share the audio file in a way that that other people can get at it. Because
Gotcha.
right now everything I've tried, and I've listed most of what I have here. Like the Droppy link is the if you go down to in the show notes where it says what Honkeymagoo has tried so far, the one underneath is a direct link to episode 254, the MP3 file, and it automatically just starts downloading it. The other ones.
Go ahead.
No, the other ones are the other things that other things that I've tried sharing through other things. Like one of them is the link, the shareable URL from Tiny File Manager. The other one is the bottom one is the link that I got from just trying to create a quick little static Python web server page, which I have further down. And I tried putting in a link to that, and now that's not working there. I get it working on one. No, but now I got 502 bad gateway. Now what the fuck happened? Oh yeah, I don't have it up right now. Hold on. Balls. I have to go back.
So this weekend I was gonna use this little SBC Bradshaw 0 and then one of these bad boys to hold this archive of the shows. Did you say we can pull them down but you can't upload? Is that right? Honky? Or did somebody
What?
say? Did you say you can pull them down off of archive.org but you can't upload?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm gonna do.
All right.
Do you have an
So-
example of what the share URL looks like? Because I'm just trying to figure out why it would insert a $sign.
All the shared URLs are in the show notes there.
So it's that download.shownotes.ooguide.com.
Yep. That's the one from the shared URL from Droppy.
That is so weird. I
All
don't
right,
know why in the hell it would do that.
But that just starts a straight up download. So let me try. So the link. All right, that works. Let me try that. And did I? Nope, there you were. Let's go back.
So while y'all are doing that, I'm gonna put Debian on this bad boy. If I can get a little archive running.
Hmm. Right, and I think I understand what you've been saying, but I want to make sure. So the value of Droppy is just that you can share a file from it and get a link you can feed into somewhere else as a location of the file, right?
Droppy is like a Dropbox.
So, but you dropping it in there isn't the value to you. It's the value is that it's giving you a share link, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. So if you got the file, so you said you tried the Python server, did that not then let you download the file properly?
Because
I mean, all I'm thinking is like,
can you click on that
one?
link? The one
Which
that's
one is
underneath
it?
the Python.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you had it running.
That should technically just bring up the
Yeah, it brings up the directory listing. Yeah.
static page. Are you able to download through any of those?
Yeah.
Because I tried putting that bottom link, the media show notes, the bottom one in the list above. I tried putting that into.
Yeah, it works fine. I mean, for me in my browser, I mean, it tries to play. I mean, plays it in a new tab instead of downloading, but that's just the browser doing that.
Right.
So I mean, the file's there.
Right.
Does it matter that it's HTTP?
I don't know. Let me see if I can.
No, because you have it as an HTTPS. No, never mind. The server says HTTP. Never mind. I was reading it wrong. It's a secure link, so that's not it.
What is the thing that it said? It said media URL contain. Oh, that's the old one. Hold on. What was the error message this time? Because that would be like the easiest thing to do, because it's just that simple little Python script that just shares that folder. What did I get? Operation timed out.
Are you like maybe behind like a VPN or something that it can't get to you? Or
I'm not behind a VPN.
I mean, I just didn't. If I can get to you, I don't know why it can't. Like that doesn't make sense.
Right. Doesn't make sense to me either.
Is the OO guy your domain, or is that hosted? Okay. Do you think you're blacklisted somehow or something? I mean, I just don't
I
understand
know
how...
I haven't blacklisted.
I mean, it's just weird that I mean, there was no... It's just a file that's, you know, the link resolves to the domain, which then serves the file through the web server. I mean, there's no... Unless it's expecting the feed to be something other than the straight MP3 file, like
I don't...
What is it that's giving you the error?
Here.
Is it the plugin that's giving you the error?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay, so that the WordPress plugin, you're putting that in there and it's okay. Yeah, because I look at the... Oh, this is the Blueberry podcasting hosting customers. So I think this must be the premium version of this. It says publish media directly from your site. Hmm. So you're putting it in that media URL field and clicking verify.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the screenshots. Okay. And then it's coming back with an error message. Okay. Well, let's see.
Yeah, so this is what... Am I sharing the screen now?
Oh, yeah.
So this is what the general post looks like. Put all the text in there, and then, like you said, down there at the bottom, it's the you put in the media for the URL for the media. And usually, I just right-click on archive.org, one of the the MP3, and then I'll copy and paste that into here. I'll hit verify. It verifies it, and like this, it says it doesn't like the $sign in there. Basically,
that's from Droppy, right?
Yeah, that's the link from Droppy.
Okay, and then you tried putting in the one from your Python one, and it just said it timed out or something.
Yeah.
What do they call that field? URL, media URL. Progress Publishing. Yeah, no. So when you go to their the documentation for this plugin, the example media URL they give, now it starts with HTTP, so it's not an HTTPS if that matters, but it's example.com/media/my_great_podcast_episode_2.mp3. So it's a link directly to an MP3 file. So why it wouldn't accept that whenever that's their own documentation giving an example of a URL other than it's HTTP versus S, does that matter? I don't know that it does. But I mean, if I can get to that media file through the link that's in the show notes, I don't understand why it couldn't, especially whenever they're saying that's the format they expect.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's bizarre.
I mean, that's what I get when I put in the other one from the Python script. It just says operation timed out, timeout.
Yeah, and it works with. Oh no, it redirected to HTTPS.
Well, I put it in HTTP because actually, way back when we first started this, there was something where it didn't like HTTP, so we didn't put it in.
Try it with the S, maybe.
I
If you
did
had
originally, yeah.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
just now tried it without it, so.
oh, I see what you're saying. Media.shownotes.oguy.com/lugcast_254.mp3. Yeah, that's the link. I don't know. You click it again, see what happens. There has to be. Where is it? How does that verification work? I guess is my question. Like, what is that actually? What's the mechanism behind there?
That's a good question.
Like it just goes out and touches it to see if it exists, or like there has to be. It's what is that code doing behind the scenes to verify?
Right. And I thought it was just going out there, like you said, going out there, touching it to make sure it exists. As he says, operation timed
out. Bedfield. Something's there. That's that verify link or that verify feature function, whatever, is wonky. Because the link is good. We know it's good because I mean I'm looking at it on my side.
Media URL, specify URL to episodes media file.
File naming is important. I mean, I'm looking at, they have a whole specific thing about file naming, and it's, no spaces or special characters. Do not use FTP URLs. Host media on separate server. But they're saying that's because it consumes a lot of bandwidth. You found naming. You know what? Just for shits and giggles, let me see if I can. I'm going to download this file and then host it somewhere and then give you a different URL and see if it has anything at all to do with your domain or server setup. It just seems like it might be worth trying that.
So while they're doing that, has anybody else been working on any projects?
I'm setting up this little Radshaw Zero right now. They on Armbian, they no longer have an Armbian config for anybody who's used Armbian before, where you put in your Wi-Fi credentials and stuff. They deleted that, so you have to create your own config, and they give you a template now, which I thought was kind of weird. I wonder if that was a safety deal or what.
What was the Armbian config?
It's where you could put in like your Wi-Fi credentials, and if you were, I think it was just called Armbian config, and it was just a text file inside the boot folder on the image. And,
okay.
yeah, but now you have to create your own. I'm doing that right now. Yeah, Buster. Other than that, I was working on some smart plugs. Getting them, desoldering the microprocessor and programming them with Open Beacon, I think is the name of the software. It's for Beacon branded MCUs, ARM MCUs, and then loading the firmware on there and then soldering it back into the smart plug so I could use them with Home Assistant. They're really cheap smart plugs, but once you get that, and it just adds a little web server and like a mosquito server, MQQT, and connects with Home Assistant. And that was fun. I did some hemming on my pants. They were too long. So at my hackerspace, I used a seam ripper and took out the seams on the bottom, and then folded them up in about an inch, and then re-hemmed them with the sewing machine.
That had to be fun.
Yeah, it was pretty cool learning how to do that Never done that before.
Well, I've done a couple of things. One of them included doing a modification to one of my Razer Nari headphones. I thought the battery was screwed on it. But, so what I did was, I put the link in the show notes. I replaced the stock battery. Whoa, who's that?
It's gotta be Netminer, right?
No.
Oh, it's mordancy.
No, Ninwanala.
Oh. Oh, we got somebody else in there.
Nuanala. Anyways, so I found a tutorial online on Reddit on how to replace the stock battery with either an 18650 or a pair of 18650s. But I only had the one spare 18650 at the time, and I have others, but none were a matched set. So, and when you're putting batteries together like that, you really want to do it with a matched set with matched voltages. So I just used one, and I cut out the control board on the original battery and soldered that to and taped the heat sensor down to the 18650 and put that in. And yeah, that seems to be working really well, and I expect it to have an extremely long battery life, considering how much more power comes in an 18650 than one of those lithium-ion batteries that are normally in these things. And they're the same voltage, so it works out well. And the charging circuit, while it will take a while to charge it, it will charge it. So,
nice.
yeah. And it wasn't that hard to do. You know, a couple of snips, a little bit of cutting of some cello tape, or some Kapton tape, whatever you want to call it, and sticking it back on there with some electrical tape and getting it into position, screwing it all back together. And yeah, I pre-charged the battery before I put it in there, so I didn't have to wait too long for it to charge on its own, just to see the light go from red to green. And then after that, I found out that the USB micro cable that I was using to charge them wasn't doing the job, which was why it wasn't charging originally. But still, you know, the mod's there, and it should last longer, so I'm not going to complain on that one. And, well, you've seen me kind of working on my 3D printer again, or heard me working on it anyway, and it seems to be printing real good now. I had to replace that backplate, but I guess the new backplate wasn't as OEM as it said it was. So I had to find a way to shorten the belt, since I didn't have the proper crimping tool or the rings that they use to crimp that. All I did, and hopefully it holds, was get some electrical little pieces like that you use on old school stereo systems and things like that just slides on. And I cut off the piece back here on the back and just used the metal there and a pair of pliers and crimped it on the exact same way that the ring would crimp on. And yeah, like I said, it's probably not as strong, but it should be strong enough to hold. I had tried folding it over the first time, and that seemed to work, but I guess the vibrations of it moving back and forth slowly worked it out, and it popped off mid-print. Yeah, and then I think after this current print is done, I'm gonna redo the modular cables that I have there, shorten them up, clean them up, and make much less of a mess out of the top of that. And I might replace the top fan. Currently it has a 4010 on it. I have a couple of 4020s that I want to try out, see how well they work. They might be loud again though, so I might end up ordering another 4010 Noctua. Probably add back in the part cooling and bridging that I was able to do before. See? But right now, the print looks a lot cleaner since the reason I replaced that backplate is because the hot end was still moving and it was loosening itself up, and I guess the bolt holes, the threading had just worn out, and I'm hoping this one does better. But if it doesn't, then it's time to get out the Loctite and screw it in there good and leave it in there until I'm ready to replace that whole hot end again.
Honky, I sent you a link in Element.
Oh, and I just mailed Moss's Think Center or Think Tiny or whatever, Think Center M700 Tiny back to him today, so hopefully he gets that in the next couple of days.
Is it easier to send it in something else, Honky?
You want to just put it in the show notes, then I'll delete it afterwards.
Okay, got it. Sorry, Joe.
Now let me ask you this, Joe. You were talking about batteries earlier, and I see those disposable vapes all over the ground.
Oh yeah, dude, if you see them, you can do some projects with the batteries in them. I got an associate at work that vapes with these, the disposable ones,
Mm-hmm.
and I will rip the batteries out of them. And the thing is he like rotates the kinds, so that makes it difficult because you want matched batteries. So he started using all the same kind, and yeah, he's bringing them to me, and I strip the batteries out, and I'll be able to do some cool shit with that.
Yeah, I didn't know if those were worth collecting or.
Oh yeah, they're rechargeable, and just put them up to a charging circuit, and yeah, it's worth it to do the projects with them.
Nice.
But they're not going to fit in like the LG headsets or anything. They are like, they're not 14500s. They're like 14800s or something.
Hmm.
So they're wider than standard and shorter than standard.
How many volts are they?
They're 3.7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're always 3.7.
Eric, what did you do to get that URL?
I uploaded it to my server. Just that I have that domain hosted on a random web host somewhere. It's not my server. I don't control it. It's just a kind of budget web hosting. So I assume it's just an Nginx host. Why it works and yours didn't?
Yep.
Yeah, there's got to be something with your domain or routing or something that it doesn't like, and maybe it is just your domain, and it's the verify part is going out and looking against like and part of it is sort of domain verification or something. We don't know because we don't know what that verify thing is doing.
Right.
I mean, literally all I did was go in and just upload the MP3 file into my web root. So
Hey, that little configuration file worked. It connected my Bradshaw 0 to my network. I don't need a monitor.
Do they at least give you a template you could use
Yeah.
to set the config file? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Danny, do you have any extra mini PCs?
No.
No, because you shipped them all back.
Yeah, I didn't know that was coming.
Oh no, my gigabit bricks is like thoroughly dead. I took it apart and verified. I couldn't find any busted fuses or anything like that, so it's got to be something I can't fix.
I'm trying to think what I think the only thing I have is like it's not a mini PC, but it's like a small form factor Lenovo, but it needs, I mean, you can have it. It needs a network adapter in the back for the Ethernet.
Okay. I can cobble something together.
But yeah,
So-
I need to give you that power supply too.
I know. We need to meet up one of these days.
Yeah,
I need to actually leave my house and go visiting people.
you do. You need to get out of
Doesn't
the house.
sound fun though.
Sure, it is.
So, Joe, I have an interesting 3D print for you.
Okay. Tooth?
Fangs.
Cool.
So this girl that works at my dentist office, she's like, "Do you want fangs?" And I'm like, "For real?" She's like, "No, I can print them for you." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, sure." So they did dental impressions, and then they're like, they like literally just fit over my teeth.
Oh,
Oh
that's
wow,
cool.
that's crazy.
Yeah, and they fit perfectly because they're made for me.
That's cool.
They stay in.
That's freaking cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really, I mean, they're very comfortable. You can't close your mouth all the way because it's, it adds thickness to your tooth. So, it doesn't sit perfectly
Right.
flat. But it's not like you sit there with your mouth locked tight anyway. So, I mean, I had them in all day yesterday and was just, I actually forgot I had them in for a long time.
Have you tried them out on a young and nubile victim yet?
Yeah, I did tell her. She handed them to me and I put them in. Excuse me. And I said, "I feel like biting someone now." And she just looked at me. So anyway, she apparently this is something she's trying to start, like a side gig,
That's cool.
tie in with her dental background and then 3D, because she printed them and I don't know what she used, but it is super smooth.
Really?
There are no print lines at all.
Yeah.
And
Sounds like one of those UV printers,
Resin printer.
resin printers. Yeah.
So
no.
is it so you don't need any adhesive or anything, right? It just pops right
No,
in.
they literally fit on your canine. So
Cool.
I mean, it's just the opening is such that it just sits literally
Huh.
right on top, and they are actually kind of sharp too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, they're really.
I bet
I mean,
that'd
I've
be
seen them
a
before.
big hit, like in the cosplay community or something,
Right, and that's kind of what I figured too. So she's sort of practicing and just getting started. She said the hardest part, besides obviously getting because she's using a CAD program to sort of shape them, and then also she said the hard part was staining them to get them to look like your natural teeth. Because believe it or not, I don't have pearly whites.
I don't think any of us do. We're not old. We're all old men.
Well, she's like, "Can you send me a picture of your teeth?" And I took a picture and I'm like, "Oh my God." I really don't know if I want to send this to you. She's like, "Come on, I deal with teeth all day." But anyway, I just thought it was really cool that because I didn't know what to expect. The other thing they gave me is because I broke a tooth on the bottom, and that's why I was even there. And that they gave me was just like a dental tray with a tooth inside of it. And so when it sits down, there's just it fills in where that tooth is missing, except that then you have this whole thing of plastic over top of your teeth and it's really uncomfortable. Whereas these, they're like I said, you don't even know you have them in. So anyway, I told her, I don't think I'm going to be wearing them around, maybe, I don't know. If I'm feeling really weird, I'll wear them. But yeah, I think outside of that, you're right. I guess it would have to be cosplay. She's sort of that kind of girl. She's blue hair and, I think she's kind of into that scene. So that's probably what she'll.
The local goth scene.
But I just thought the idea of custom made so that they fit you perfectly and yeah, I thought that was
pretty cool.
So yeah, and that they're so smooth. Because on every 3D print I've ever seen, you can tell it's a 3D print and I'm sure that has a lot to do with the quality of the print and the material used and all that. But anyway,
there are ways to smooth FDM prints, but it's really complicated. And my guess is that the resin printers, they are a lot smoother and don't really have the layer lines in the same way. So it's probably just that.
Gotcha.
Especially for something so small.
Yeah, and really delicate. They're super thin. You know what I mean? I don't know how else you could do it, even if you were layering it on. It's so thin. So How do those work? Do they not have a like back and forth head or?
No, essentially there's a layer of liquid, and then a beam of light like hits it
Oh,
in the right spots, and it sticks together, cures it.
interesting. Huh. Okay. I'll have to ask her if she can tell me what kind of. I don't think she owns the printer. I think she's working for someone else that's letting her do it. Maybe, I don't know. It was all pretty convoluted. I didn't know. I honestly didn't think I was going to get them.
No, but it's cool.
It's fun. I've seen them in movies before, and I've seen, where people have them as just like this, like an appliance. But I always just assumed they would be like crazy expensive, which is I don't know. Never thought it was worth pursuing. So when she asked me, I was just like, sure, why not? All right, so now you need to figure out what's going on with your domain, or
Just use Eric's.
I don't know.
Make Eric host it. Eric, you're the new host.
Well, I mean, you could do a subdomain and just point it to a different server. It's not like it's the domain itself, unless it is. Like, that's what I'm saying. If we don't know what the verify function is doing, it can't just be verifying that the file exists, because I was able to get to it. You know what I mean? So where is that WordPress site being hosted?
Hostinger.
So I wonder if Hostinger is somehow filtering your domain.
Maybe.
Because it's running from that server, and it would have to be able to get to your domain from Hostinger. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So maybe that's what's going on.
Maybe. I think trying to find another hosting, or just another hosting for the audio files. Yeah. Well, maybe.
I mean, you're not the only one that uses that. I know Bill uses that PowerPress plugin. I mean, there's probably others, but it seems like that's the popular one, at least. Ooh. So how is Lugbot these days? Has he gotten any better, or is he still feeling under the weather?
Yeah, he's better now that I moved him to the other PC.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'll have to just mess with the settings and stuff.
He didn't have enough horsepower.
I'm wondering if... Yeah, it's weird because this laptop should be more powerful than that little Celeron mini PC, but apparently it's something else.
Oh, weird.
What about where's Netminer? Is he muted?
Yeah.
I was wondering if he's done any Raspberry Pi stuff lately. We haven't heard about any projects from him.
There's a
What is going on?
I don't know.
Artist wants to talk about the project she's working on.
Oh, go for it.
Okay. Hello. I am Mordancy's goddaughter. Hello. So I am currently working on a project of homebrewing a whole lot of different DSs. I haven't made my way to any Wii consoles yet. But I'm working with a lot of like used consoles secondhand. And I'm thinking about like turning them over for a profit after jailbreaking them. But I'm running into a lot of stripped screws, a lot of just issues when it comes to the millions and millions of screws Nintendo puts in their systems. I was wondering if anyone has any ideas.
Joe is the
on that.
console man.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, the Nintendo 3DS or the Nintendo DS, it's so delicate on the inside, way more delicate than I am. And I've tried a couple of times on those, and I mean, I will break the ribbon connectors, not the ribbons themselves, but the connectors for the ribbons. And so I quit working on those a while ago. But they are fun to like soft mod and emulate all the different things on. But yeah, when it comes to like repairability on those, I do know that with the screws, in order not to strip them out, you have to be very careful on the way in, not to over tighten one. That's an important one. And the next one is when you're first starting to screw it in, back it up slow, line it up in position, back it up slowly till you hear a little click or feel a little click of where it drops, and then move it forward slowly. And that should help prevent some of the plastic stripping that you're experiencing. And then if you do end up with a stripped screw, very, very lightly the hole on the receiver side, just a small amount of super glue, and then you screw it in while it's still wet, and then you hold it there and give it a little bit of time to cure, and then don't touch it for 24 hours. It will still unscrew, and that should help take care of a lot of the stripping that had previously happened.
I was actually thinking super glue. So I'm glad to hear that that is a legitimate method. Now what would you use would you use a screwdriver?
Yeah, there isn't a whole lot of other choice there. Just like just one of the multi sets that comes with all the different bits. The what is it? 1/4-inch drive. They work really well. That's really your only option.
Okay. Yeah, because we're killing gnats currently. So I've got this DS where the Joy-Con, after so much use, it's literally the rubber has crumbled, fallen inside, and made it. First of all, there's no more rubber anymore. Second of all, the rubber that is there is on the inside, making it feel really gross.
Right.
There's a lot of pushback when you're moving it, which is not satisfying. So I'm running into God, these screws are so tiny.
Yes.
So I will do that. I don't have a lot of I have not worked with super glue a lot, so I will have to refine that first.
The smallest amount.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.
And you're not trying to stick the two pieces of plastic together. You're trying to replace the threading. See what I'm saying?
Let me make sure I understand. So
okay, so you have a strip hole that is supposed to have threads in it, and it has probably the remnants of threads in it. What you're doing is you're putting a little bit of glue over the hole, and then you're putting the screw in. Well, you're putting the whole thing together, and it might stick the two pieces of plastic together, but that's not your goal. Your goal is for that super glue to go along the threadings of the screw as you're putting it in, and then sticking to the plastic on the inside.
That's smart. Okay. Thanks for explaining. I've opened up things like Joy-Cons on Switches before and done stuff with them, no problem. I totally understand what you mean though with the the pieces where the ribbons go in and then you have to click them, and that is a pain.
Yeah.
I hate that. I opened up a pink DS earlier, and seeing that tiny little, oh my god. I have a programming teacher, he looked at it and he said, I won't touch that.
Yeah, I swear, you look at those connectors too hard and they just fall apart.
Yeah, basically.
But as
and what's
to
nice
the
about
Joy-Con, I'm much more likely to get out a solder sucker or some solder wick and remove the things and replace them than I am to try and fix the little joysticks. So yeah, I'm lazy in that way.
I mean, and then, like, what's the harm in if you accidentally mess something up on a Joy-Con? Honestly,
That's
you can
true.
just get more. It just connects to the Switch. With the 3DS, if you mess it up, you don't have a 3DS anymore. Or you do, you just have a lot of more hassle, or at that point, if I was at that point, I would just give it to someone else to fix for me. Someone who's been doing it, but I also know people don't want to do 3DSs because of that. So
Yeah, the hardware part of it. I don't. I was watching. Oh gosh, who was it today? On YouTube that does a lot of those. Give me just a second, and I will look him up. It's not the coder. It's not Joey. Joey does some of them sometimes. Tronics Fix. Tronics Fix had a show today where he was fixing a whole bunch of 3DSs. Might want to check that out. I will actually put this link in the show notes, and you can have mordancy grab it because he does good work. And he fixed. Well, I think he only made it through 6 of the 13 he has, but his next video is going to be the rest of them.
hold on, he's confused.
Beneath my Reddit post, in purple, there's a YouTube link for Tronics Fix.
Okay, I will check out that video because that does seem interesting. I have seen people on YouTube like, here's this Game Boy I found in a dump for 25 years, and then they fully take it apart, fix, and then they end up playing, Pokemon Yellow on it, and you're like, wow. Anyways, thank you so much. I really appreciate the input. I'm going to invest in a lot of super glue, I guess.
Like I said, it does not take much. The smallest amount that you can put on there, and try and get it in the hole instead of around the outside, because you definitely don't want to. You want to be able to take it apart and work on it again later.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, I've dug myself really deep, and I have about 4 or 5 different 2 and 3DS models to do, so all of them have some sort of internal issue, and it's going to be the biggest hassle.
Oh my gosh! Replacing the top screen, twisting the wires so you can slide it through the hinge, and then getting it slotted through that little slot, and then getting it actually into the right ribbon connectors. Yeah, no, thank you.
So I actually, there's a retro game store near where I live, and I bought the special edition pink DS, and I got it at a discount because it had dead pixels right center in the top screen. And I thought, okay, that'll be a project that's going to suck really bad, because you've got to heat that screen up and, pry it off very carefully, put another one on, make sure the glue is warm so that it sticks, but not too warm, so that it bubbles, but there was a trick where, you put it in sleep mode, so you fold it over, leave it on until it dies in sleep mode, which could take days. And then you turn it on, fully charge it, and then keep doing it. And I actually was able to get all those dead pixels out without opening it once.
I did not know that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's freaking cool.
Yeah, that's freaking cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it works with 2DS models that don't fold. But I would assume it would work the same way because you can still put them in sleep mode.
I wonder how that works.
I have no idea. I'm assuming something with the power being on, but screen, I don't know. I mean, you could see the dead pixels without the system even being on. So it's really cool that they can just come out that easily without even. I mean, I'm sure if it was more severe, I would have had to have. But I got the system like over $50 cheaper because of it, and it was something I didn't even have to put any effort into.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always great buying things that other people think are broken and then, looking at them hard and making them work.
I went back thinking about like gifts for people. There's a new Nintendo 2DS XL. The back hinge seems where the screen folds up. It is open and pushed out, so that when you flip that top screen up, it only goes, up, kind of like how you would have a laptop. And it will not go further. With the screen fully closed, you can see what's going on in that hinge bar. Then there's screen burn in the top corner. Because of that hinge being open, it's messing with the right side audio so that it crackles. And the way that those are built, it has this like ring of color around the top, and then there's a plate in the middle of whatever their main color is. The main plate is gone. And they're trying to sell it for $150. And I was like, there's not even anything online that would explain why the back hinge is fully exposed.
Somebody got creative with it?
Yeah, I don't know. It almost looked like something that you were supposed to be able to click in place, and someone had already opened it and didn't click it in place. But it was so severe, I almost feel like it almost looked like heat had warped it.
I tend to prefer working on PSPs.
Yeah, those are really cool.
The turnaround on them used to be pretty good. I mean, you used to be able to get them for like $20-$30 each, and then if you could fix them, you could turn around and sell them for $100-$150, depending on what you had done to them. I think I still have a listing somewhere for like $125 on them, but they got more expensive. Even the broken ones got more expensive, and they're not excessively hard to work on, and they're not as delicate as a 3DS.
Yeah, I really had probably made a mistake starting off with Nintendo in every way.
Yeah, well, Switches, if you're good with a heat gun, they look like they're okay to work on. But yeah, maybe the original Game Boy isn't as bad, but yeah, I don't like the idea of working on a 3DS again.
Yeah, this might end sooner than I expected. But I hope it doesn't, because if you look up what the modded DSs are, and what I'm hoping is I can open them up, buy ones that are cheap. Here's my $10 new 3DS XL on Facebook Marketplace, and I fix it, and then mod it, and then sell it. I mean, the newest model that had come out already goes for about $400.
But the new 3DS XL,
Yes.
and they're fun to play once they're modded.
Agreed.
I love
So what is
putting
the-
a Genesis emulator on there.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, what is it that the modding does? Because I'm a complete ignorant person when it comes to that stuff.
Well, it's a very much a soft mod, but it allows you to install Homebrew, and then that in turn allows you to install emulators. And there's already a multi-card out there that you can get that basically takes a 3DS cart and allows you to put a micro SD card in it, and then you put that in, and you install and run the emulators, and then you can run emulated games. So I have a
Gotcha.
picture on Facebook of me running the Sega Genesis version of Shadowrun on a new 3DS XL. And being able to put a micro SD card on there that holds the entirety of the original Nintendo's library, always fun.
The 3DS reads gigs as blocks. I don't know the exact ratio, how many blocks is in a gig, but and I could be wrong here. Hold on. I'm actually just gonna pull out my SD card and look at it. Okay, micro SD card. Yeah, so I have the 256, which is absurd. You don't ever need that much. Unless you want to put theoretically every game that came out for the DS and 3DS multiple times over. The maximum amount I can read is 999,999. I have not reached that yet. Like going over that, I don't know if I ever will. And I got mine at Walmart. And it was literally, I went to Target first. It was over $50 for the 256 micro SD card. Walmart had theirs for like $19. So for $19 I got like basically infinite storage. But yeah, there's ways you can put Sega, PlayStation. I don't know how far you can run them. Like I would only ever put PS1. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't ever remember putting PS1 games on there, but that would be pretty cool. And then if you could, I don't know if you can run PSP on the 3DS.
There is a website is dedicated to like 3DS mods, and one of the sidebars is PS1 games. You have to download certain software to be able to do it. That, and then Nintendo 64 as well. I know that it can happen, but I know it's a lot of work.
Nintendo 64 emulation on anything is hit or miss and requires a lot of per game tweaking. And yeah, it's definitely not easy to do, and because you get one game working doesn't mean you're going to get another game working. So, like 007 is one of those ones that's really, really difficult to get anything to emulate properly, even like a Raspberry Pi.
Right. The only model of the 3DS that has any kind of the C stick, if you're familiar with it, they made Minecraft port to it, because they made the C-Stick. That's why there's there's maybe like 4 new Nintendo 3DS exclusive games. And it's a real pain to work with. So imagine playing something like Mario 64 and the entire game, to look around, you have to navigate with that tiny C-Stick in the corner of the DS.
I ended up getting a big long lecture from my son on the difference from Minecraft and Blockcraft. Like, most of what is out there that isn't, attached to a Microsoft server is technically Blockcraft.
I did not know this either. Is it Blockcraft if it's marketed as Minecraft and it's an official Minecraft? Like, can it stay Blockcraft?
I would have to ask my son, but I don't feel like sitting through another lecture.
Fair. The other thing is, when I got this pink DS, and I got it on sale, I got it before it had been modded, and it already had a lot of games paid for, downloaded when the eShop still worked. So if anyone is ever interested in, they don't always wipe them when they give them to you, so you can get good deals. And that, I'm not even saying just 3DS, is like anything you can download. I don't know, PlayStations, Xboxes, with my experience going to many different ones, they don't wipe them. Which is kind of
Which on some of your older systems, but a lot of your newer ones, if you're not regularly logging into the account, or if they change their password, then you would lose access.
Well, that sucks really bad.
Yeah.
Usually, if I get something like that, I usually just stick with whatever account is on it. I say that as if I've done this a million times, and I haven't, but the few times I have, I just kind of like, maybe I'm lucky because that means somebody had just turned it in and was playing on it. I don't know.
Well, like my dad gave my son his old Xbox One, and that had all his games on it and his account on it. But after a certain amount of time, I don't know if he changed his password or what happened, but we just lost access to everything. And because we weren't able to log into his account, we were no longer had access to his games.
That sucks so bad. I feel like every time I do something with Xbox, something like that happens. I was about to say Microsoft.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir here.
Yeah, I was just talking about how much I hate Minecraft to my mom, actually. And she was like, what? I like Microsoft. I was like,
Yeah, you won't hear anybody on this show say that. But the only good thing that has come out of Microsoft is OneNote.
I am not familiar.
It's a very robust note-taking tool.
Okay. Okay, I'm being shown OneNote currently.
The only thing that came close was Evernote, and Evernote kind of went paid, and yeah, I need it on more than just 3 machines.
Okay, I've learned about OneNote. It seems useful, shockingly.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm probably gonna hop off. Wonderful speaking with you. And I look forward to trying out this super glue trick, and I will let mordancy tell you guys how it works. Because I'm probably gonna do this tomorrow or something.
Just
Okay.
remember, super glue tends to take about 24 hours to properly cure.
Let me rephrase. I will start tomorrow.
Okay. It was good talking to you.
Yeah, good talking to you.
Have a good night.
Yeah, dude.
Did Danny go to sleep?
Probably.
No, I'm here. I'm trying to, once I installed or moved the OS to the eMMC card on the Bradshaw Zero, it lost networking. So I'm trying to get my networking back. Hopefully it'll work. Should we talk about the movie?
There was a movie?
Oh, geez, I completely forgot.
Yeah, Transcendence.
Transcendence.
Had Johnny Depp. I'm not sure who his love interest was. Let me get over here. Look it up. Let's see, Transcendence. There. Rebecca Hall.
Yep.
Okay. So this is a movie from 2014. Ah, I thought it was more recent than that. Just not.
It was a younger Johnny Depp.
Before he was eaten up, chewed up and spit out by Amber Heard. Johnny Depp, Morgan Freeman, Rebecca Hall, Paul Bettany, Kate Mara, Cillian Murphy, and Cole Hauser. So it kind of starts out. This is movie's all about artificial intelligence and nanotechnology and stuff like that, and
Intelligence transference? I don't know what you would call that.
Yeah, they're in the beginning. You have a group of scientists. They're working on artificial intelligence, and they want to show the world all their new breakthroughs. But keep in mind, this is 2014, so before ChatGPT and stuff like that became household names. And there's also a separate group who are anti-AI, and they're kind of an underground organization that I don't know. What do they believe, that it's going to take over the world, or they're just
Destroy
fighting
the
against
world?
Yeah.
I think they're against all things. They're
She's-
called Unplug.
She gives a whole sort of monologue about how she was part of the research and they hooked up the monkey brain, or they transitioned, or they loaded it, uploaded it, whatever they were doing, and how it just
Didn't breathe,
screamed.
its heart didn't beat, and all it did was scream the whole time.
Yeah, and how it was, she was just interpreted that as it was in agony and wanted to be killed or turned off or whatever. And so so at that point she sort of figured, she felt that it was wrong, and so yeah, it kind of started the whole movement, yeah. And that she was saying that they would get together and talk about that guy's specific, that character's specific work, like his philosophy of, is it moral to do this and that kind of thing. So that's why she kept appealing to him.
So Johnny Depp is part of this group of scientists, him and his wife, who is kind of the mouthpiece of their AI movement, and they end up being victims of a terrorist attack by this Unplugged group. I think one attack is like a cake that has poison or gas in it, and takes out some of the AI scientists. But Johnny Depp himself gets shot by a bullet that has plutonium on it, I think. So he gets radiation poisoning.
Yeah.
So he only has 4 to 5 weeks, the doctor says, to live. So what they want to try and do is upload his mind into their computers, and they have these quantum processors that they steal from the lab that gets shut down. And
the same method they used on the monkey.
Yeah, so I don't know how this works. They don't really explain it. Like, I don't think it would work in real life. Like, try to upload somebody's mind by just putting a bunch of electrodes on their head and
scanning everything that happens.
Yeah, but anyway, he ends up. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I was trying to figure that out too, because they had all the electrodes hooked up, but then he'd sit there and read words.
Well, they did that
just
for
say
the
words.
for the speech after they loaded him up. They wanted him give him a way to speak using his own voice. At least that was my interpretation of that.
Gotcha. I didn't understand that. Okay.
Which is why he sounded the way he did when they first got him turned on.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, so it works, and he dies, but he's inside their computers now, and the whole mystery is whether this is just him
or a copy of him.
Yeah, whether it's actually him or if it's an evil AI copy, because as soon as he turns on, he demands more power, more processing. He wants to be connected to Wall Street and all this other stuff. And his partner, who's there that helps with the project, says he would never say that or do that, but his wife says she swears it's him. So he ends up, Johnny Depp as the computer ends up getting her a bunch of money, I guess, through the internet, and so they can fund building this huge data center in this shithole town in the desert. Like, I think they said they built it 5 stories underground or something to keep the data center cool. And he starts to take care of business in that data center. Johnny Depp does. He gets a lot more power. They have all this solar power farm to power the data center, and they have all these employees now and contractors that are building everything for them. And they got this huge laboratory where they have these more quantum processors to run everything. And now he's getting into nanotechnology. The first contractor he hired is rich now, of course, because he brought in all this work to build this data center, and he gets jumped when some local no-goods see him paying with a wad of cash at a restaurant or a bar, and they beat the shit out of him. And Johnny Depp, AI Johnny Depp, tells everybody to bring him into the lab, and he's all crushed and beat up, and these wires or something that are operated by the AI fix them all up and plant them with nanotechnology that heals them. But at the same time, it also connects him to Johnny Depp. So they have a electronic networking mind connection. And
hive mind is what they call it.
Yeah, and so all of the employees now that work for him are getting this connection, and they're getting body upgrades.
He brought in. He put out a call on the internet and brought in people that had disabilities of some kind or debilitating injuries of some kind, including a guy that was completely blind since birth and physical deformities and things like that.
Yeah, so he had all these people brought in, and I'm guessing so that they would be loyal to him, he fixed them all, and now he's got all this free labor that he also gets networked with, and so they're always
stronger than normal.
Yeah, he enhances them and stuff like this, and his wife becomes kind of afraid of him because she's not sure what his plans actually are. And also, the government teams up with the terrorist organization in the background, along with Morgan Freeman, and they want to stop him at all costs. But he's plugged into everything now, so they have to use kind of old school artillery and stuff to barge into the data center property, and they start shooting. But unbeknownst to them, the nanotechnology is everywhere. So anybody that gets shot that's on his team can regenerate, and solar panels regenerate, and
right. They show that the nanites are in the water table, and
yeah, that he's distributed all these nano machines everywhere. So they've gone on the winds and they've flown around the earth, and so it kind of goes on like that, and he towards the end I guess he's actually benevolent. He wasn't power hungry after all. He wanted to just heal the earth with the nanotechnologies. You think that's true? And also she thinks she says that she believes him that he's really
That
him
should be
and
fine.
stuff too.
No, that should be fine.
Oh.
he was kind of given a choice of either watching his friend, because he knew that his wife had been infected with the virus.
Oh, that's right.
And
I
that if he
skipped that part.
uploaded her, that it was going to kill him and her. But she had been hit with artillery, and was dying, and he could either fix her body or upload her. That was the choice that he had, because that's all he had the power to do. And then his friend Max, the guy that had betrayed him, was also in a position where if Johnny didn't do the upload, he was going to die. And so, despite the fact that they thought that this guy was no longer human and didn't give a shit, they were threatening his friend. And the choice was, upload the wife and die, or watch his friend die. And, well, yeah.
So yeah, that's what happened at the end. Is I forgot that she was carrying a virus manufactured by one of the other scientists that survived, and it destroyed. Not only did it destroy Johnny Depp and the data center and everything, but I don't know how it did this, but it just blacked out the world to where nothing worked, nothing electrical worked. Yeah.
It destroyed all the computers, everything electronic, blah,
yeah, they
blah,
really
blah.
They didn't cover that in enough depth for me. I kind of felt like that was
That should have been a whole much bigger sticking point, considering how many people would die from that happening.
Well, it started with that, right? I mean, they started with, okay, it was sort of a, not exactly dystopian, I guess it was technically because the internet was gone and it caused the collapse of like financial systems and stuff, but it wasn't like World War III or something. It was...
Well, you saw people using laptops as doorstops because they wouldn't work anymore.
You gotta love how they kept on showing that same shot of the guy taking the laptop and using it to shove it underneath the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really leaned into that, didn't they?
Yeah. But I mean, if no computers are working, then no manufacturing process is working. So they're not making life-saving drugs anymore. They're not running respirators anymore. They're not running CPAP machines anymore. So they're not making medicine. They're not running any of the machines. You had a total blackout, so immediately anybody that was on life support is freaking dead. And then without all the manufacturing involved with bringing food everywhere, how many more people died? I mean, seriously, there had to be some cost-benefit analysis that was done where one way you're losing most of the human race and the other way you're potentially losing the entire human race. But seriously, you just frick it, kill most of us.
Yeah, and I forgot that they had that scene in the very beginning too, where that scientist was talking about how the internet was gone, and it was kind of like the last scene of the film was the first scene of the film or whatever. So they were foreshadowing what happened. But I can say this: I didn't like this movie. I thought it was boring. I don't know if I hated it. I just thought it was extremely boring and just a bad movie. Yeah.
Seriously, for the amount of things that happened in this movie, there was so much time where nothing was happening. It is the most exciting, boring movie I have ever watched.
There's just nothing compelling. None of the characters were interesting, and Johnny Depp he was basically a talking robot. Like even his performance was, So it just didn't appeal to me. I had to speed it up this movie, which I very rarely do.
I tried watching it. I tried watching it at 2, but that made a lot of the language incomprehensible, so I could only crank it up to like 1.5.
Yeah, which is what I did. I went up to 1.5, and I just it's too long.
I kept hoping the same thing. I was on Plex, so I couldn't speed it up. But yeah, I was just like...
Yes, you can. There's an extension for that.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I couldn't with what I was doing. So yeah, I just sat there, and you're right. It was like these long transitions where they would show like shots of nature for 30 seconds. And you're like, dude, this is a movie. You're wasting... Like, how much did it cost you to put in a stock video roll of like some trees? Like, what are you doing?
Supposedly this was like a box office bomb, like it lost over $100 million or something.
Look at all the actors that were in it. I mean, Morgan Freeman
and the budget,
Johnny Depp, that guy, the blonde guy too. He was not like a nobody,
Yeah, I've seen him in several things too. Yeah.
So it was surprising when I saw Morgan Freeman come up. I was like, wait a minute, because I saw on Rotten Tomatoes it has like a 19%, which it deserves.
Yeah,
it deserves it. But like when I started seeing all the stars in it, I'm like, how did this do so poorly? And yeah, it was edited badly. Like there was just very few redeeming qualities to it. The tech was really like overdone and like silly, and yeah, it was not good.
Very
really
dumb.
Wasn't good.
Yeah, I agree. It's just some of it was pretty to look at, but I was thinking the same thing. How could they pour this much money into a movie like this and it be as boring as it is and just not compelling and just a total slog fest to get through? And well, it's just a risky run. So I give it a thumbs down.
I'm gonna give it a half.
Really?
Yeah.
Honky gives it a half. So what'd you like about it, Honky?
I don't know. I thought the movie was okay, but I agree with the fact that it being slow. I mean, compared to a lot of the other movies that we've seen, this is not nearly as bad. Now, is it as good as many other movies? That
is it as good as Birdemic?
Well, I mean,
it's still. I'd still rather watch this than another Don the Dragon Wilson movie.
Oh, not me. I definitely rather watch. At least that's so stupid. It's funny or interesting or something about it is at least a little bit compelling. This was just blah, like total snooze fest, like nothing going on. And I don't know. I think it just proves that no matter how much money you throw at something, if you don't have good direction, good stories, and things like that, it's not going to come out well.
I really think they felt like the concept itself was so intrinsically interesting, and then the special effects were somehow going to like carry that. I don't know.
It felt like they wanted it to be a very cerebral movie, and then they didn't put in the smart parts of it.
Yeah, there wasn't any smart parts in it. There was no I would have loved to hear like the different philosophical takes of artificial intelligence and stuff like that. And they had that opportunity, but they didn't. They didn't fill it out that way. So, yeah, not for me.
This is definitely too long and boring and just drawn out. If you guys dig the concept of this whole transference thing, there's an old X-Files episode that was actually written by William Gibson of Neuromancer fame, who the whole episode deals with this guy putting his body inside of a computer, and then his girlfriend is still in the flesh and stuff. And it's actually a pretty good episode. If you guys are into that.
Yeah, I don't remember that episode.
Yeah, I forget what season it was, but it's worth a watch, and it's way better than this.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well go back and watch Max Headroom. I'm just saying.
Mordancy, did you catch this movie? Maybe
He just left,
talking.
I think.
So you just
Oh,
left.
did he? Okay. So we get 1 star then, since both of you give it a half a thumb.
Right.
All right. Let's pick the next movie.
No music?
No Lugbots and no music.
Oh, goodness.
Let's see. I'll do the script. And documents. The movie picker. There it is. Another recent movie, Spaceman from 2024. Never heard of this.
Is that
Spaceman.
available yet? Let me check. I put it on the list. I have not seen it.
I never heard of it.
It looks awesome. But you won't believe who's in it.
An astronaut. Let's see. Come on,
Oh my
Spaceman.
goodness. Are you kidding me?
It's not a comedy.
An
Yeah,
a-
it was
Is
on
he
Netflix.
possible of a dramatic performance?
Guess so.
Oh, Adam Sandler. Really? Fuck.
Right?
Half a year into his solo mission on the edge of the solar system, an astronaut concerned with the state of his life back on Earth is helped by an ancient creature he discovers in the bowels of his ship.
Oh, it's on Netflix.
Visually, it reminds me of Project Hail Mary.
Okay.
Well,
So it's
Adam
on
Sandler
Netflix.
fucking sucks, but I guess we have to
He
watch
does.
it.
He's
He sucks so bad.
he really does.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who hates him.
I cannot stand him. I hate him.
No, I love his like stupid comedy whenever I was like 15. I thought
Yeah.
it was the funniest thing in the world.
Same here. But I'm not
But
15
yeah, like-
anymore.
No.
Apparently
not at all.
Joe is.
Yes.
Because he
Do
said
you
it
guys
looks
remember
awesome.
Opera Man from Saturday Night Live? It was like the worst character ever.
Yeah, he's terrible. He's terrible. He's just a piece of shit. I don't see how he got to where he's at now. Fucking idiot. All right, Spaceman is our next movie for 2024. Unfortunately. Great.
It's got a 50% freshness
Thank you, Joe.
on Rotten Tomatoes. You're welcome.
Oh man,
Well, I don't know.
Just
I mean, if
realize
he pulls it off, who knows?
I doubt it.
that
Maybe you're-
no matter how bad this movie is, we've watched worse.
Undoubtedly. I
Oh god.
I got kicked off as soon as you asked me what I thought about the movie.
Yeah, what do you
Um,
think?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of flat.
We all said
expected
it was
it
pretty boring.
To be better. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it when it came out.
Oh, you did? So what would you rate it?
Wow.
Thumbs down. So it gets 1 star. Well, guess what we're about to watch next?
There, much star power and money pumped into that for it to not be good,
Right. Yeah.
and it wasn't good.
It wasn't. If I wasn't at work, I would have fell asleep. All right.
We're just happy you're awake now.
Yeah. So, what was it called? Transcendence. Okay. 1 star. All right. Anything else y'all want to talk about?
I'm dropping the link for the Chrome extension that I use to speed up Plex. I don't know if there's a Firefox version or anything, but there should be.
All right. Well, you should watch the trailer because
It looks good.
What
Joe,
looks good?
you and I have very different tastes, my friend. And now I know who to blame for half of the terrible movies on this list.
And the other half belong to Danny.
Danny.
So it's you two.
Did we?
Yes, an Adam Sandler dramatic movie. So let that sink in for a moment.
Y'all can't hear that, can you?
Hear what?
Okay, I'm watching the trailer.
Actually, it's a good thing that I have a wastebasket here. Adam Sandler dramatic movie. I might lose my supper.
Yeah, just wait till you get towards the end of the trailer where they do the reveal of who he's with.
Okay.
Which is why it reminds me of Project Hail Mary.
I'm watching Danny's
Bless you.
face.
COVID. Maybe I should leave before this affects my health.
Oh, before you leave though, have you done anything lately? Any projects or Raspberry Pi stuff or anything like that?
Not really. I've just been taking care of what I have to do, paying some outrageous bills and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish you all good night. And
Good night, Netminer.
thank you.
El says hi.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing from Elle personally when she's on this side of the big water. And it's always a pleasure to hear from her. And God bless, and I hope to see you guys next show.
Yep.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.
And Joe really brought everybody down. Netminer just left, and as soon as he heard about Adam Sandler, he's out of here. Now I feel like I'm catching a flu or something. It just
Did you see who the other person was or other being?
I saw Carrie Mulligan.
No. In the craft with him.
Oh, that what is it? Some kind of monkey creature or something?
Spider.
Oh, it looks like a giant spider.
Oh, that's what it was. Well, goody.
A giant talking spider.
So,
Which-
have any of you guys read Project Hail Mary?
Is that what
No.
this is based on?
No, this is based on Spaceman of Bohemia.
Is that Andy Weir or is that who did it?
No, and
Sounds
yeah,
familiar.
Andy Weir did Project Hail Mary. Was it? Yeah, Andy Weir. No, Andy Weir did Ready Player One, right? Or did he do
Where was that? Wasn't he The Martian?
The Martian?
Yeah.
It was the same author as The Martian.
Andy Weir did Project Hail Mary.
Yeah, so Andy Weir wrote a couple of other books. I like all of his books. Let's see, Artemis.
Hmm.
Gosh. And Project Hail Mary and The Martian. All three of them are good.
Wow, so his book got picked up. It was published in 2021 and it was made into a movie like the same year? That's crazy.
Good book.
Yeah, but like the logistics and timing of that seem kind of impossible.
Well, Project Hail Mary is supposed to also end up as a movie, I think. Yeah. Ryan Gosling is slated to produce and star as
it's
Grace.
okay. They're working on it. Okay, sorry. I thought it was already out. It's coming out in 2026. All right. I saw that there was a teaser trailer 2 years ago. Which, when it takes 8 years to make a movie, you have to wonder.
There's a lot of visual that's going to have to go into that movie.
This trend of these insanely expensive movies, I don't know.
I remember that. Remember when Pearl Harbor was a $100 million movie, the most expensive movie ever made?
That lasted about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, why would they pick him to be the star? You tell me. Ben Affleck. We're going to spend $100 million. Let's put Ben Affleck as the main...
Because he was a big name at the time.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if I'd ever say he was ever a big name, but...
He had a big name girlfriend.
He did, and a big butt, too.
He had a big butt?
No, his girlfriend did.
J-Lo.
Sully, you lied.
Now his wife.
I was fucking with him. I was kidding.
Aren't they married now?
Are they? Oh.
They deserve each other.
But you don't
like
like
I know
J-Lo?
either of them. I don't know either of them. What am I talking about? I'm really
J-Lo?
not one of those person that's people that judges others based on some public persona.
J-Lo's cute. I don't think she's a good actor, but she's cute.
She's Jenny from the
Jijili.
Block.
Greatest movie ever, Jijili.
I don't believe you.
Look, I think that movie's a crap show, okay? Do not watch it. On
thank
penalty of losing IQ points.
Well, if an Adam Sandler fan says it's good, it might be... says it's bad, it might actually be good.
You should look up the reviews on it and then tell me if I'm wrong.
I'm good.
Jijili. It's, yeah, Ben Affleck and J-Lo. 2003 romantic comedy. And it's even got Al Pacino and Christopher Walken in it. And it's still hot garbage. And look, it made $7.2 million against the $75.6 million budget.
Yeah, that stings.
Money laundering?
Okay, the film has an approval rating of 6% on Rotten Tomatoes. 6%. An average weighted rating of 3.10 out of 10.
6%. That's an accomplishment.
On Metacritic, it has a score of 18 out of 100. Audiences gave it a score of D-.
What do audiences know?
Whether or not a movie makes money.
I watched a series on Netflix. It's a German series called Murder Mindfully. And I recommend it.
Did they translate it, or is it with subtitles?
Both. You can pick the language and subtitles.
They dubbed it. Okay.
Yeah. So it is dubbed. So I did it dubbed and not in the original German.
Yeah, I try to hang in there with original language stuff, and you can't do anything except watch it, right? Which is, I think, the hard part for me.
Yeah, I
to
listened to
multitask.
it today and yesterday while I was working. Yeah, it was 10
Gotcha.
half-hour episodes.
That's what's kind of nice about the anime series is most of them are like 20 minutes long, 25 at the most. You kind of blow through them.
So I want to say we had a great time doing our watch party last Friday. If
That's what I
anybody wants
heard.
to do that again, I'm game. Yeah, any one of us could pause the movie and we talked about stuff and we riffed on it while things were happening. It was lots of fun.
It sounds fun. Sounds like a fun way to do a movie.
Which
movie?
software
The movie
did you
was
use?
Plex. Plex has a
Oh, it's
watch
Plex. Okay.
watch together feature. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It was way funnier what I thought it was going to be from watching the trailer. I thought it was going to be terrible. There were so many funny jokes. There were very inappropriate things. I was expecting but hoping there wasn't going to be some racial joke about
The title.
Coon. Yeah, and there was.
Oh boy.
I was waiting for it, but I was hoping it wasn't there. But it was funny because it was a response to somebody saying something about it, and they were like, "No, raccoon." on over the phone. Yeah, it was. So I guess I'll have to listen to the beginning of the episode to hear what Lovecraft said about it.
Yeah, he wasn't too high on it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a great movie, but it was fun. Definitely watching it together, and the puppet and then the little bit of CGI that they had of the thing too was it was kind of crazy, but I mean, at some point, the thing flies around, and it was a very, very dexterous raccoon. It was jumping all over the place.
I could see how doing a watch party would make even terrible movies fun. Actually, you know what? That's what was so bad about Transcendence is that it wasn't even terrible. It was just boring.
Blah. Blah.
And like you said, Joe, a terrible movie is at least interesting. Or maybe it was Danny that said
Yeah, I say at least something's going on that make you either cringe or laugh or whatever. But this is just like I felt like a zombie watching it.
Yeah, I couldn't wait for it to be over. I actually skipped ahead a bunch of sections where I just was like skipped the whole minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I'm just like, there couldn't have been anything that important.
Yeah, there wasn't. You didn't miss anything.
Yeah, it was definitely way too long. They needed to trim at least 20, 25 minutes out of it to get it down to an appropriate length.
What they could have done was, like, instead of have it be a 2-hour movie, they could have had it be like a multi-episode TV show and actually dived into the topics they kept just touching on briefly and then moving on because there wasn't enough time.
Yeah.
Or cut out all the artsy crap and actually talk about a subject.
That's funny. Now that you mention that is a good point. It almost is like they probably filmed 4 hours worth of footage, and then this was like the most they felt they could edit out. Yet they still didn't explain how the virus took out all of the infrastructure. And like there were still big holes in the plot, in my opinion. But maybe that was it. They just had too much to tell, or maybe the director sucks. I don't really know. I don't know any of his work, so. But I mean, the effects were fine for the era, I guess. The whole like nanobots like just spontaneously lifting up into the air, whatever they were doing, that was kind of cheesy. Especially for that kind of budget, I thought. I don't know. And like he makes the first guy, right? And he leaves the big weird chunk like of on his head so that they could point to it and go, "Look, I'm connected to the network." Like anyway.
And then he wants him to sleep with his wife.
Yeah, that was a weird part. I couldn't tell if that was a dream or what. But no.
I'm also glad that you pointed out the reason that they were using the antiquated military technology was because they couldn't use anything modern.
Yeah.
Because when I watched it, I thought, you have the budget for everything else, and then you have them using this like ancient howitzer, like.
Well, no, they actually stated why that they were using those. They
See,
wanted
that was
something non-technical.
That was one of those 2 or 3 minute chunks that I probably missed. Oh, goodness. Well, whatever. That's fine.
It is what it is.
Yes.
All right. That
Well,
mean it's
boys,
time to shut it down?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm
about to go to
fading.
bed.
I wanted to remind everybody that the Ohio Linux, formerly the Ohio LinuxFest, whatever it's called now,
It's not called
is,
that anymore?
it's like Open Libre Free Software Conference or something like that.
What the fuck? That's stupid. It's a Linux festival. Why don't they call it that?
They focused the keynotes and stuff several years ago were on BSD and other things, and there were arguments between people. I don't know. I'm sure that's why it stems from that year.
Anyway, go ahead.
All right. Our next recording date will be November 15th, 2024. Our music is Downright, provided by Klaatu and Broam, and we'd like to thank Minnix for the Mumble server, the Matrix server, the Peertube, the... Am I forgetting any?
No, that's cool.
Okay. Thanks, Danny.
Sure.
All right. I've been your host this evening, Honkeymagoo. With us tonight has been Eric.
Good night, everybody.
Joe.
Good night.
Lovecraft.
Good night.
Minnix.
Good night, guys.
And mordancy.
Good night, everyone.
All right. Good night, everybody. Where's the thing to close? There it is.